But ladies and gentlemen, we're hopping into the ace match, game number 3 of this winners semifinals between puCK and Neeb. We're hopping into it as we spawn down here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map. Top of the green Roadhouse player, give it up for puCK.
And spawning up in the top left position, going for carriers in the last game and tying the series at 1-1, it is the player from On Fire, Neeb. Looks like we are going to be seeing a gate opening from both players. No crazy Nexus first. That would be a pretty absurd thing to do on a map like this with how wide open the natural is. We could see gate Nexus. I wouldn't be too surprised, but seeing a Nexus first on a map like this is very unlikely.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. This map is a little bit notorious for having, you know, kind of wide open natural expansion and everything. All kinds of attacks can come in. It's not exactly PvZ or anything. It is PvP, but still, adepts can easily maneuver their way around, do all sorts of harassment. And even this is a pretty nice map, I would say, for blink play as well.
Yeah, both players are actually going to be opening up for that 2-gate opening, as they did throw down that second gas and second gate. So we'll see if both players go for adepts, or if maybe Neeb tends a little bit to play more defensive, so he might be going for those stalkers, or maybe even both players go for stalkers. We will see in just a little bit. Looks like Neeb got the advantage of scouting his opponent first. puCK, though, recognizing after he scouted bottom right, based on the scout timing of Neeb, that he had to be close position, so he checks top left next. Very clever from puCK.
And as puCK moves in, he sees the 2 gateways, sees the Cybernetics core finishing up, and he knows pretty much what he's going to be up against, and is probably going to be getting ready with his own 2 gateways, making those 2 stalkers. And this is so funny. This almost looks a lot like that kind of traditional 3 stalker rush that we would end up seeing. It's a little bit different, of course, 2 stalkers being made at a time rather than 1 and then 2 or anything, but it's so funny in that day and age of Legacy of the Void where we always see these adept openings.
Yeah, it's the same idea, though, of opening up safe. We do see the Chrono Boost coming out for puCK on the Warp Gate, whereas Neeb is instead electing to go for the Chrono Boost on the Mothership Core, and now the Warp Gate. Oh, wow, we're seeing puCK throw down the robotics facility. I wonder if we're going to see an emulation of the last game he did against puCK in those close air positions on Ruins of Saras.
You know, it's maybe a possibility. puCK is starting to move across the map, already getting a little bit of information, actually planting on that pylon, gonna plant down another pylon, just to try and delay any sort of Nexus from going up. Such a weird play over here from puCK. Really trying to mess with Neeb, I guess, as he now moves in with the 2 stalkers, gets a scout out, and that's a good pylon placement. Gonna make it very easy to float and overcharge for the defense.
Yeah, so cheeky with those pylons, and it looks like we are going to see the same build from puCK, angling on 2 more gateways, and I believe keeping the Chrono Boost on his Cybernetics core. Also, we have Neeb going for a Stargate and a Nexus. I don't know how this is going to fare against this build. I'm very curious to know if Neeb saw the games between huck and puCK. I don't think that he did.
No, I don't believe that he did either, but I have to ask and double check with somebody else. Warp Prism going to be coming out again, as you said, for puCK. And this is definitely looking like it could be a very similar push out.
Yes, and the one distinct similarity, though, is that because of the Nexus position, your natural Nexus's relative position to where the Warp Prism would come in, this is actually an easier defense for Neeb than it would have been for huck on Ruins of Saras. His stalkers are already going to start in a better position. Oh, but he's starting to move across the map with them. This might be a very bad scenario. And we see this once again, 3 stalkers in the Warp Prism, 3 on the ground.
Oh, but there's 3 sentries loaded up in that Warp Prism right now. The Warp Prism already getting very, very low in health. It actually ends up going down. Loses 2 of the sentries. That was a big investment. In fact, he also reveals the fact that that Warp Prism was loaded up with the sentries. That alone is already a big reveal for Neeb.
Neeb takes a massive lead. Already up 6 workers and 4 army supply. Oracle coming in. Oh, goes for that sentry, but going to be pushed away. Wow, Neeb's got to be feeling so good about that. puCK, on the other hand, has to be shaking his head.
No, he
Oh,
is not.
even doesn't even get the Oracle.
Oh, it gets so close with it too. That Oracle going to be a thorn in puCK's side, forcing him to leave units at home, forcing him to leave the Mothership Core at home, and we even see Void Rays in production once again. This is exactly the way that puCK slowly came to his decline in that last game. Seeing that same sort of style again, puCK is probably not going to be feeling great about it.
Yeah, I think he's going to see that Void Rain, maybe shudder just a little bit remembering last game. I like the positioning of that Stasis Ward.
Yeah.
It's right next to a pylon, so if a unit goes up there, you can trap it and then just time a Photon Overcharge with when it gets unfrozen.
Yep. Well, we end up seeing puCK still trying to play this out. He's sitting at a 7-worker deficit with that much later natural expansion. And wow, Neeb even moving around, just getting a scout out to make sure there's no proxy pylons or anything crazy coming out. And he actually will end up seeing these stalkers moving around behind the destructible rocks. And he is definitely aware of it. He's moving that stalker around. He's confirming what he saw. He sees it again. And he is immediately going to be repositioning his army.
Neeb is so smart. He knows that puCK's not just going to accept that he's behind and play out a macro game. He knows that puCK is going to do something crazy to try and get back into it, and he has that stalker in position, still even scouting around the right. The attack is going to be at the front now, and that Stasis Ward could play a big role. Oh, but it looks like puCK might decide, no, this is a bad idea, I have to go home.
Yeah, he's actually moving in with the Adepts inside of that Warp Prism, so going to try and move to the main base. Mothership Core is waiting over there with full energy and a lot of pylons to choose from for Photon Overcharge.
Yes, and we do see even the first Immortal popping out. Or is that the second Immortal?
Second Immortal, yeah.
Yeah, Neeb is actually he's just in a fantastic position right now. We
mean,
see Blink starting up at about the same time.
Yeah, and I mean, the normal time where you'd want to try and punish that sort of Void Ray play is after you end up getting out some of those Immortals out, before you start seeing some of those Immortals come out. But regardless, we are going to end up seeing Blink coming out for both of these players. Gateway is being added on right now for Neeb, and he is going to be getting into a stronger and stronger position as this game goes on. puCK is trying to equalize, though, with a third expansion of his own.
Yeah, we do see the nice revelation on that Observer, going to be picking that off. And the Warp Prism going to be trying to come into the third base, maybe do a bit of damage, but there's no probes there yet.
Yeah, and at the same time, I think that we have the Oracle just sitting around outside of puCK's third expansion.
Oh, actually letting the Adepts even finish.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate. That Oracle is also just chilling there. Just waiting. He's waiting for that probe transfer.
Yeah, he is. I think he's going to be a little bit Oh, it does move it away. He's
like, no,
good.
wait a second. Your Mothership Core is moving. You're aware. You're
paying
red alert.
attention.
Red alert.
Yeah. And we do see a pretty substantial army supply from Neeb, and he might just decide to push with Blink and some Immortals.
But, well, here comes the big push out. Neeb looking for some potential aggression, looking for an opportunity. These Immortals are going to be knocking down these rocks in absolutely no time. Revelation also thrown down on top of this army, going to make it so much easier for Neeb to reposition his army exactly where it needs to be.
Yeah, and that's just so nice, even forcing back the Observer, so not going to be able to follow Neeb's army to know where it is.
But here's the thing, both of these players actually have a decent number of sentries.
Blink.
Making up the ramp is such a big deal because there's so many of these sentries I think were here to just make sure exactly this didn't happen.
Nice
going down.
fields.
Yeah, it does trap in some of the stalkers, but the Blink is used to get out of there. One of those Immortals got to be very, very careful.
Yeah, it does break through that, that Immortal barrier. Oh, wow, big Blink forward. Time Warp's going to come down on the army. Actually, Neeb might be overcommitting a little bit here.
A little bit over-aggressive as we end up seeing now only finally some of these Immortals actually not still getting into the fight as some good forces come down from puCK, but is it enough? He's still just so heavily outnumbered. Blink coming out from both of these players, but still, Neeb reigns supreme in the unit count.
Pulling the probes is puCK, but is it going to be enough? I just don't think so. Really nice micro, keeping those Immortals alive, but the probe count is now so low for puCK. And Neeb looks like he might be moving on to the winners finals.
I think so right now. As these stalkers are starting to fall, Neeb is climbing in supply. He's still got that third. 28 workers killed. GG. Neeb going to be taking the series 2-1.
And he's got to be happy about that. Yep. Congratulations to Neeb. He's going to be facing Masa in the winners finals.
Oh, man. You know, I think that we've had a lot of crazy games. We've had even a couple of good upsets. But this is a match that I think a lot of people were anticipating was going to be the winners finals.
Absolutely. especially seeing how well Massa played yesterday and even today. Neeb maybe a little bit shaky in that first day, but really showing his quality and really showing some grittiness.
Yes.
He's dropped, I believe that's now 2 series where he dropped game 1 and then came back to win 2-1.
That actually may very well be true, and it's so funny how these kind of games have played out. These PvPs have been pretty fantastic. Pretty much everything you could ask for. You got like a big aggressive build. You got the long macro games with carriers and everything else.
Yeah.
You got the crazy micro-intensive games. It's been pretty fantastic.
Yeah, looks like we're going to go into some replays of the series.
I would love to actually relive some of that series, man.
Absolutely. Maybe not game 2. That was...
Oh, that actually was a little bit too painful to rewatch because I felt like I was rewatching myself.
Yes, but here we see in game 1 the big overcommitment from Neeb, blinking forward and losing so many stalkers against those disruptors.
Yeah, it was actually a follow-up right when puCK had accidentally had his units on a bit of a move command, so really glad that it actually ended up working out well for him. He isn't going to regret that decision too much, but yeah, at this point, these disruptors just really, I mean, he did a great job of trying to pick off those disruptors and doing a good job of that, but it just allowed puCK way too many free shots, and he did end up taking out that game.
Yeah, just a bit of a... It's easy when you smell blood in the water, when you see a move commanded army, you just think, oh, I need to jump on this now. But then there's disruptors behind it, and everything dies.
Yeah, but then there was this kind of cool push-up where puCK was trying to put the pressure on very early on, but the Immortal was already out. I feel like that was just barely missing his timing before the Immortal came out. That would have been a totally different engagement. This is where we saw the real, I think, devastation come in.
Yes, yeah.
The walling in made it so difficult, but I was really surprised with this engagement.
Yeah, I was as well. It went very different than I was expecting.
Yeah.
If the feedback had come down on that mothership, puCK maybe wins the game right there, because even though he's way down in supply right now, those carriers were all empty, and the Voidways were starting to get killed.
Yeah.
There was still quite a few Archons with that army.
If there's no recall, suddenly it becomes so much more difficult to actually make a whole lot happen. Even in that engagement, I don't think a lot of the Archons were attacking, but this one definitely not nearly as close as Neeb.
Unfortunately.
Neeb's showing us why carriers and Voiders are such a strong linking composition in PvP.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not a big fan of that, but that's just my opinion. But here we see in Game 3, this was the right from the start, Neeb taking absolute control. And here we see the final late game engagement that just ended the game. Some nice force fields from puCK did actually manage to give him a chance in this engagement, but Neeb with just too much on the ground. Some nice force fields of his own, keeping out that Immortal at the top.
Yeah.
And Neeb just had too much DPS in the end.
I mean, you can imagine maybe if there was like a Mothership core that had full photon overcharge energy, those pylons also adding in, but it just really, as you were saying, wasn't quite enough. GG, and Neeb advances on, as you said, to the winners semifinals. So sorry, the winners finals. That was the winners semifinals.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that matchup between Neeb and Massa. That is going to be taking place tomorrow, I believe, and should be a very good matchup. We saw an interesting build from Neeb in that their best of one game. It was he built 26 cannons.
26 or 27 cannons?
27 cannons. That's a lot of cannons to build in a professional match.
Yeah, he did not want to be dropped, and he still got dropped.
That's Massa in a nutshell.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how much you build to stop drops. He will drop you, and it will hurt.
Or just aggression in general, because it's not even just the drops from Massa. It's actually, like, I would say, if I were to equate him to a former player, it would be July Zerg, actually, who, if you guys remember way back in the days of 2011, he would have a switch, and it would flip, and it's just like, okay, well, I decided that I'm going to end the game, so I'm going to keep rallying units across the map, and I might have to expand to end the game, but I am not stopping the attack until you're dead.
Yeah, and he was so good at that. And yeah, we saw that from Massa, and we've been seeing it throughout this tournament, just unrelenting aggression.
Yeah. But, of course, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be hopping into a short little break in a little bit. But, of course, I do want to remind you guys, do be sure to give some thank you out to our amazing, amazing sponsor, Corsair Gaming. And, of course, I do also want to remind you guys that you can donate to the Indiegogo if you guys want to support Kings of the North. But it sounds like we're not actually going to go to a short break. In fact, we're going to be going to an interview over on the couch. So we'll see you guys there.
So I'm sitting here with Neeb, our newest, going to the finals. Are you excited to be in the finals, Neeb? Win all that sick Kings of the North esports money?
Yeah, I think so. It's like the tournament's just in general really top heavy. Like I think it's 1,400 for first and 500 for second. So, like, I really want to be in the top 4.
So I was talking to you earlier, and I asked if you were going to win the whole thing, and you said no. Do you have any addendums to that statement now?
I still don't think I'm gonna win. I think this guy right here,
It's Massa. He's pointing to Massa.
Massa, is gonna beat me in the finals.
So you expect to play Massa in the finals, and you don't think you can beat Massa?
Yeah, he's tearing.
So you played PvP against puCK. Earlier, puCK said he would lose to you because you played Protoss properly. Can you explain what proper Protoss is?
Pissing your opponent off.
Yes. Okay. That's Protoss in a nutshell for you. We've got Neeb. He's an expert at pissing people off, and he'll be playing Massa in the finals where he'll lose. Stay tuned to Kings of the North. We'll go to our break.